Jessica was only 16 years old when she was raped by an elder in her church called Mr. Okoro. He is the youth pastor in the church. All the church members respect, honors, and idolizes him more than the main pastor. He is an example of a perfect servant of God. When he preaches, the strongest of hearts are melted. He also preaches and condemns premarital sex. When he speaks in tongues, people get goosebumps and many souls are won. But behind all these things, he is an evil creep who lusts after teenage girls in the church and wouldn't hesitate to sleep with any of them at the slightest chance that he gets. He has a very beautiful wife and 3 adorable children. He is also very rich. Jessica idolizes Mr. Okoro and also looks up to him as her spiritual father. On the sad day that he raped Jessica, with a shattered heart, she asked him, "What is your reason for doing this horrible thing to me?" His response was that when he was young, he was a church boy and did enjoy life before he got married, that he wants to relive his teenage years and enjoy himself a little. 2 weeks later, news broke out that Jessica seduced and lured the man of God to sleep with her. Jessica's auntie, whom she was living with, heard the news and confronted Jessica. She explained to her auntie how everything happened. Her auntie refused to believe her, but instead, she accused Jessica of being against the man of God, hence that she is possessed by an evil spirit and needs deliverance, saying that Mr. Okoro is a powerful man of God and can never stoop so low. Jessica's auntie warned her never to tell anybody what happened in order not to tarnish her image, as nobody will ever believe her. Even the pastor's wife believed her husband and was going around gossiping that her husband is innocent and that it was Jessica that seduced her husband and that she is possessed. Jessica became a subject of ridicule and mockery by everyone in the church. Even Mr. Okoro, the culprit, preached about her and asked people to avoid her as she is being possessed by an evil spirit. They all laughed at her. That night, Jessica cried very bitterly. She had no one to talk to, as it was his words against hers, and everybody was on his side. Nobody believed her. Rather, they accused her of being possessed and needed to be delivered. Jessica suffered anxiety and low self-esteem. She stopped going to that church and was even scared to go outside her house for the fear of being humiliated and questioned. She suffered so much and was in deep pain, which made her to wake up one night and laid a heavy curses upon Mr. Okoro, the youth pastor. Several years later, Jessica have healed and moved on from her past. One day, she came to visit her auntie and heard the news about how Mr. Okoro was frolicking with married women, teenagers, and widows in the church. He was exposed, disgraced, and thrown out from the church, and his reputation went down the drain. He also stopped coming to church out of shame. He went from grace to grass, from driving a flashy car to driving keke as a means of survival. Later that day, as Jessica was leaving her auntie's house, she saw Mr. Okoro, who looked so old, dirty, tattered, and unkempt, with an old keke that he was driving. He saw Jessica and bowed down his head in shame. Her auntie also apologized to her and she was vindicated. Moral of the story: protect the girl child. They are not safe with anybody around them except you. Be careful and be intentional towards them. The end.